welcome back to the YouTube channel for OQLIS, the data insights people. Today, we'll unpack adding custom SVG logic to an Explore. This feature will add the option of another visualization to your dashboards and give you the ability to add custom visuals and images to make your dashboard stand out. You can learn more about other cool visualization techniques in some of our other videos on this channel. Alright, to start off with, we're going to navigate to any SVG editor or creator. For this case, I'm going to be using Boxy SVG, and just to start off with, kind of give you an idea of how these things might work. It's as simple as drawing or importing your image that you'd like to visualize. I'm just going to be drawing a little truck for this use case. On these editors, you'll find that you can change the fill, you can change the stroke, you can do all sorts of things to your liking and your customization. You'll be able to have a look here at the Elements tab, and this will show you how you've changed it, and you can also change anything that you'd like within this Elements tab, specifically on Boxy SVG. You'll then import or generate a preview of your SVG and copy it to your clipboard. From here, we're going to navigate to our OQLIS instance, and specifically to the Explore menu item on the left-hand side over here. We're going to choose our data model. For today's case, we're going to be using football stats data. And it's important to note now that if we want to select our single value visualization, which we'll do in just a sec, we want to make sure that there's a measure or grouping element within before we select our single value visualization type. From here, we're going to navigate to the settings on the right hand side of screen here, and you'll notice that there's a little tab for HTML. Within that custom HTML tab over here, we're going to paste our SVG that we've just created. I already have one pre-created before I started this video, and it's very important to note that you select yes in this override content with HTML in order to show our little SVG on the left here. You'll notice that we have a little man for today's example on the left here, and another good practice is to just now save your SVG. SVG testing, just to ensure that our HTML on the right here is then reformatted into a nice readable code rather than what it was before. So you'll notice that it's nicely formatted in here now, and this is our SVG within our little HTML tab that we have on the right here. The next important thing to note is that we have certain fields that we want to show in our visualization in our SVG. And the way that this is done is ensuring that all the fields that we want to be pulled through are within our measure or grouping elements up here. So for today's use case, we're going to need goals, the sum of them, and the name of the players. And we're also going to want to have a look at the club that they play for. From here, we will then go back to our HTML, and you'll notice that we have these fields that we've just added into our measures and our grouping up the top there that are preceded with an @ tag. This is very important practice, as otherwise it will not show up in your SVG. We make sure that the @ is preceding our field over here. So you'll see that we've got goals, we have club over here, and we also have color somewhere within our SVG code over here. In any case, the nice thing about this HTML tab over here is that we have the ability to change our SVG from within this HTML as long as we save it. So for instance, let's have a look at if I wanted to change this from goals equals to, we can change it to assists equals to, or we might want to change the color. For instance, over here, you'll see we've got our @color tag, which I'll add to our measures field up here now. But if I wanted to, for interest sake, make that blue, you'll notice that it changes the SVG on the left as you do so. So it's very important to make sure that we precede our measures field with that @. I'm going to add in color this calculated field into our measure. And if you want to learn more about calculated fields, I'm sure you can have a look on the YouTube channel. This calculated field for our use case today just has a look at the club, and then sets the color. So for instance, Arsenal, Manchester United, and Liverpool all wear red, whilst Manchester City wear a light blue, Leicester wear a blue color. And we make sure that that's added into our measures field so that it can listen, so that this HTML here will listen to our measure up here, depending on the data that it's fed. All right, from here, we're going to save it. Of course, always save and add to our dashboard, whatever dashboard you might want to add it to. I already have a dashboard called SVG man just for today's instance. And you'll see over here now that we have our little SVG man, although he's in blue. I'll explain that now. And we have a little footballers data grid just to indicate the data that it's being fed and just to filter for visualization purposes today. So you'll notice that we have James Maddison over here, Leicester City, and the amount of goals that he scored. And you'll see that that's been translated to our little SVG over here on the left. This is obviously different per use case, but just for today's example, we might want to have a look at Bukayo Saka, who plays for Arsenal, and he scored 12 goals this season, and Arsenal wear red. For those of you who don't know, we'll click on Saka just to filter the data, and you'll see that our SVG changes its color based on its kit. And remember our color calculated field that we created, and you'll see that his name, his club, and his goals tally are included. If we wanted to have a look at Erling Haaland rather, who plays for Manchester City, who wear a light blue, we'll click on him and you'll see that we have our SVG that is dynamically updating based on the data that it is being fed for its parameters that we discussed. So yeah, basically for SVGs, we have a couple key things that we have to remember. We need to remember that when we are updating our SVG or creating our SVG, we go from Boxy or any creator and we insert that into our HTML, which is within our single value visualization type under the explore menu item. And you'll see that we have our SVG, and then you make sure that you have whatever data you want to visualize preceded by an @ tag, and that corresponding field is within our measures or grouping elements over here. And you should see that your SVG is now populated and changing based on what you would like to see. This is obviously a very simple use case, but there are many use cases where you can use SVGs and the likes to show data in a way that you would like to visualize it. All right, and that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to get all the latest updates regarding our software, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.